Hi guys, my name is Sean from Indonesia. I wanted this video to be about this little girl over here. She's not little, her name's Gia and she's 14 years old. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about dog ownership and my experiences having two dogs. I actually had two. One of them passed away about 4 months ago. We'll be talking a little bit about her, about responsibilities, all the ups and downs about dog ownership, and maybe my advice for you guys if you're thinking about getting a dog, or if you have any friends that are thinking about getting a dog. But yeah, I'm gonna put her down because she's actually very nervous now, but this is what she looks like, and I may have some close-up photos of her, maybe as a baby too. She's very cute when she was very little. Right. All right, so let's start at the beginning. I got them when I was living in New York 14 years ago. That's her flapping her ears. I got Josie first. They're both mini-daschunds. I think I should mention that. I got Josie first and I got her next. And at the time, I was actually not ready to be a dad yet, but it was pretty impulsive. I mean, when I saw them, I just knew that I had to get them. So they were also a calling because I had a dream about Gia over there. I had a dream about her right on the day that I met her. So it was weird. It felt like we were destined to be together. And then we lived there for about 2 years, and then I moved to China, to Shanghai, and I brought them with me. It was not an easy journey. There were a lot of paperwork, but people who are handling it. And they lived with me in Shanghai for about 5 years. Some interesting stories on that. And then they moved back with me here in Indonesia, and we lived in my parents' home, the big house that we kind of lived for, I think, 8 years. At the time, I was also traveling a lot. I at some point had an apartment in the city, but the dogs were being taken care of by my dad's gardeners. So they had a lot of people around, they had a lot of care. But ever since I moved here to this little home, oh my God, it's been 6 months. Yeah, it's been over 6 months. I've moved here. And now I'm the sole guardian for Gia, who's a very senior dog now. For a lot of you guys who are new to dogs, 14 years old, well, she's actually 14 and a half now. It's a milestone. She would be around 90 or 100 years old as a human. So yeah, raising them in New York was actually quite difficult. At the time, I was actually struggling with my business. I was just starting things up. Looking back now, I may consider them my biggest regret in my life and my biggest hinder. And I don't mean that in a fully negative way, but I felt like I could have gone further in life if I didn't spend so much time on my dogs. I would have maybe not better, but I would have more social life. And yeah, that's how I feel. And I'm sorry that it sounded bad. It kind of does, but we had a lot of good moments too, me and my dogs. In New York, we would go to the dog parks, and people would come over to see them. They actually had a really good life there. I would walk them a lot in New York City, and we have gone to Fire Island with the dogs. I don't know if any of you know what that is. And we've gone camping upstate. So these girls, they have been through quite a lot with me. And then in China, when I moved there, we lived in an apartment. There we had an ayi. Ayi is like an older lady who comes in and cleans the house. That she really adores them, and I was lucky enough to have her for 5 years. And she would walk them and just look after them, clean after them. At the time, both dogs actually slept with me in my bed. And just so you know, I cannot sleep in any bed that is not white colored sheets. So yeah, even up till today, all my beds have to be white. My pillow and my blanket and my sheets. I don't know why, it's just a thing. Imagine like the ayi who had to clean up after that because there's dog hair everywhere and there's like skid marks all over the bed. But yeah, that was quite an interesting time. I was very close to the dogs, but I would still be able to go out at the time because there were 2 of them and they were relatively young, and I could leave them alone and they would be fine. Things got worse when we came back here, I guess. Well, in the house, they actually did really well. But recently, I think as Gia got a lot older, she's become a lot more emotional. So if you saw a lot of my plant videos on my plant channel, only plants, there are a lot of times where I yelled at her like, Gia, cut it out. Because I would be filming, because it's a really big house. So Gia would sometimes just find herself alone or something and she would just cry. Like she would just want attention. So that happens a lot. And these days, now that I've moved here to my own home, she would not let me go out at all. My goodness, she stuck to me like a glue. And I did look up a lot of the online guide for anxiety, separation anxiety, for dogs, because that's what I know. I know that that's what she has, especially after losing Josie. Gia is a little bit dependent on me. She's looking for a leader person. She's a very submissive dog too. I've tried everything in the books, did not work. Okay, first of all, they're mini-daschunds. Daschunds, as a breed, oh my god, they don't take no for an answer. They're just gonna do what they're gonna do. I've had them potty trained, but then they will go on accidents, like emotionally. Like if they're angry at you, they'll just pee or poop somewhere. Or if you forget to let them out, they will not hold it. They will just let it go. And it's really difficult to potty train Dachshunds. I have to say that they're very, very stubborn dogs. They're bred to be stubborn, in fact, and willful, because they were bred to hunt badgers, which are these very ferocious animals that live and burrow underground. So Dachshunds are supposed to not fear anything, run down. This is why they have stubbly short legs and long bodies. They're diggers, they're prolific diggers. They're supposed to get out there in the dark and catch this ferocious beast. Well, this little badgers are very little, honey badgers, but then they can be very fierce, right? They can also inflict some damage. So yeah, Dachshunds are supposed to dig them out, and yeah, that's what they're for. So Dachshunds are very cute. They will make mistakes. They will not listen to you, but they're also willfully friendly. And there's a lot of good things about Dachshunds, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I have a mixed feeling about my dogs, of course, because they were also my source of anxiety, stress, financial stress. A lot of my time is spent on them, especially now with Gia, where I'm the only one caring for her. I spend at least 2 hours a day with Gia, whether it's playing with her, feeding her, walking her. We have a gardener that come in to walk her, but that's not enough. Gia, where maybe most Dachshunds, I would say, are very, very active. They need a lot of sports, they need a lot of attention, they need a lot of playtime. So yeah, if you're thinking of getting a dog or a Dachshund, keep that in mind. They're very, very active. Even up to the age of 14 and a half, she will still jump to things, she will run to things. Yeah. So very quickly about Josie, who passed away. I'm going to include some photos on the screen. She's cute, she's very, very beautiful. They're both actually dappled. Well, in my plant world, I would call them variegated, because they have these random spots on their skin, and they used to be unpopular. Like people throw them away when you see them with spots, because they would consider them defects. But for Josie, she's very beautiful. She's a long-haired version, but I do shave her often, which is why, oh my gosh, she's quite a lot to maintain, right? But Josie, well, I want to tell a story about her. She's actually very, very loyal, and she actually caught a burglar in my Shanghai apartment. At some point, I mean, I lived in an apartment that was actually pretty safe. There's security guards and all that. But, I actually got a scooter. My God, I'm digressing a lot. But I actually got a scooter in Shanghai. And I learned how to ride it. I did not even know how to ride a bicycle well, let alone a scooter. I fell many times on the scooter, which is why up till today I do have fear of being on a motorbike, especially if somebody else is driving it. If I'm a passenger, I would really be afraid, and I avoid it at all costs. But I did try at the time to learn to ride it. But I was parking my scooter outside of my apartment on the alleyway, which is a norm for China. And then at night, sometimes the alarm would go off. That would freak the hell out of me, because the key is in my apartment, so I would have to unlock it to turn off the alarm. But of course, the neighbors heard the alarm. That basically means someone tried to tamper with it and try to steal it. So yeah, that would freak me out. But one day, I got rid of the scooter entirely, because it was just bringing me anxiety, driving around the city and not being skilled enough and having had accidents before. I fell on the roadside and nobody came to save me. Nobody helped me. This is the thing in China. I don't know if it's still like that today, but in China there's a rule or a law or a norm where if you help somebody, that person can actually sue you. So yeah, so I was on the floor. I was clearly needing help. My scooter was on top of me and people just didn't even pay attention to me or did anything. So I had to limp my way. I had to gather my soul, my soul that fled my body, basically my spirit left my body. That was how scared I was. I thought I was gonna die, right? So I had to pick up the scooter with scrapes on my skin. And after that I was like, no more. But I digress. So one day the scooter's gone and finally, one night I was sleeping with them because they sleep with me on the bed, as I mentioned. Josie started like, woof, like, running out and being freaky. And then I was like, okay, I ran out and my goodness, I thought something was off because Josie kept prancing around the dark apartment that I was in, like the living room and stuff. She was looking for something. So I was like, something's not right. And in my study room, my goodness, there was an old lady there. Oh my goodness, I did not know what to do. I had everything around me. I had my work computer. I had like basically all my possessions were around me, right? So there's this lady here that crept in there, Chinese lady, and I was like, get out of my place. I'm usually like I cannot imagine like how I would react in today too, because I am not a confrontational person. I'm a very peaceful person. At the time I didn't even think like, of capturing her or anything or alarming anybody. I was just like, get out of the house, and my dogs were with me and she was freaked out too. She was scared. So she got out of there and I also made sure because she was empty-handed. So I made sure she didn't have anything on her. But yeah, Josie caught a burglar and I'm forever, my goodness, I'm forever thankful for her. She's very diligent. They both have very different personality, Josie and Gia. So yeah, and actually I was just filming my last episode on insomnia and I did talk a little bit about my dog Gia. Funnily enough, because I filmed that at around 2 to 3 a.m. I went back to sleep. 5 a.m. I heard a crashing noise right here, like downstairs, So I was like, holy crap, like am I getting burglarized? That's like my biggest fear, right? So I got up and I found a little baton of like a paper, but it's a thick paper, right? I came downstairs and I noticed like my trash can, which is behind my chair now, it's flipped over and everything's fallen. So I guess because Gia's sleeping on this chair sometimes when I'm sleeping on, I think she fell over into the trash and that trash fell over and all the content came out. But what I meant to say is that she's the cause of a lot of my anxiety and stress now in a way that is like, she wakes me up a lot at night. She prances around at night. She sleeps in the daytime, right? I don't know what to do. And at night, she's like, sometimes she would yell in the middle of the night, scream. Maybe she wakes up from a nightmare and finds nobody around her and she would freak out. And my dogs don't really sleep with me anymore. I think because Gia right now, actually, she has, she has tumor on her cheeks, on the side of her cheeks, and is bleeding a lot. So she would bleed on everything, the floor, the surfaces. And oh my God, this is turning into a long video. Sorry. But I hope this is interesting for you guys. But anyways, I brought her to the vet about 2 months ago because the tumor was growing. And then the vet told me that at her age, there's too many complications that could go wrong. Even if they did a pre-screening before the surgery to find, to look at her liver, kidney function and all that. Even if they were good, there's a 50% chance she would not survive the operation. This is just because of the anesthesia, which is very heavy on the body, the surgery itself, and then also the antibiotics for recovery, the chance of infection, and older dogs or older living things in general, we don't heal as well as younger aged living things. So yeah, the doctor said that if we left the tumor alone, it would be uncomfortable for her, but she will 100% live. So I decided not to give her surgery. So say what you will, because you may have a different opinion or choice if it was your dog. But for me, that was it. So yeah, Gia has been, whenever I leave home, she would cry. And so I really have to be home all the time. I have missed a lot of dinner parties with my friends. So if my friends are watching this, you'll know why I'm always stuck at home. Like I have a gardener that comes in from 9 to 5. So this is why I actually go to the gym. I do my supermarket groceries before 5 p.m. And then I would work and like until now. This is actually like 11 o'clock at night. So I'm still working. So yeah, that's my life now. And Gia has really messed things up for me. And right now, as you can see, I have a lot of businesses and I have a lot of opportunities. I'm working on a lot of things. And this is the time where I would say, oh my God, if I did not have her, I would have gone so much further. So, of course, I love hugging her, kissing her, and playing with her. And I think about all the good times we've had. And I would imagine we still have good times. Like when I'm walking with her, just seeing her enjoy the world, and I know that her time is not long. She'd be walking and she'd be like looking around, just that short period of time where we're bonded. So walking my dog is actually a very strong bonding moment for every dog. This is important fact that you have to know. Dogs, we love to be walked. It's their bonding time with you. And just so you know, all dogs do need attention. They do need care. And when you leave them alone, they're very, very miserable. This applies to all dogs because dogs are pack animals. They're not meant to be alone. So anyways, I keep jumping all over the place, but my point is that dogs are wonderful. They're great. But if you want to get one or your friends are getting one, do consider the burden. As they get older, they can get sick. They can get needier over time. And imagine their bag of food. Like I get big bags of food for them, right? In their lifetime, they actually do consume a lot of food. And that is not just a financial burden, but also if you consider the world hunger now, there are a lot of people, children who don't have enough food, a lot of countries that are poor. In fact, I was actually at a friend's place one time and he's so spoiled, my goodness. Oh my God, I'm not going to talk about him in details, but he bought salmon for his dog. And he lives in a neighborhood, because I drove there, he lives in a neighborhood where you have to drive by it's a very, very poor and, that's not the right word. I want to be politically correct. It's a very low income neighborhood where people are obviously struggling. There are kids running around, they're not in, nice clothes or anything, right? So you have to drive by that to his house, and there he is feeding salmon to his dog. I don't know how people can live with that. How? So, yeah, dogs are actually, of course, there is great source of companionship, entertainment for us, comfort. But we do have to consider also the environmental impact and also like what we could have done maybe with those resources to help other people along instead. So yeah, a lot of you dog lovers or animal lovers out there are gonna poo-poo me for saying that. I'm sorry, but I put it out there. So if you ask me if I could do it all over again, I would not. But maybe you can say it's a trauma, right? When I lost Josie, oh my goodness. That kind of sadness, that guilt, oh my God, that was heart-wrenching. And, saying goodbye to someone Josie lived to the ripe old age of 14, actually, 13 plus, almost 14. She's an old lady and it's her time anyways. But that experience, that heartbreak, and, of course, there are a lot of good times, looking back at our memories. That's something that I believe every human should actually go through at least once. So if you have kids at home, it will be really nice, especially if the kids, you have a family and the kids can grow up around a pet, like a dog or something, and you have enough members of the family to take care of the animal. Not like me, because I'm single and I'm just caring them for myself and just become too much. But if you had a big family and kids are growing on their dogs and they go through the life cycle of the dog, maybe the joy of having the puppy around and then growing old with the dog, having the dog leave you, this loyal, beautiful being, and just the sadness and all the grieving and all that, it is actually, I believe, a pretty healthy process for a human to go through at least once in their lifetime, because it is very redeeming it is very, I'm trying to find the right words now. It's very humbling, that this creature has been with me, and this relationship that is unique. But again, I'm conflicted in a way that I don't recommend it because of all the costs that comes with it as well. So it's up to you. At the end of the day, you decide how you feel about pets, but that is how I feel about my dogs. And maybe quickly, I just want to share a little bit about my plans, right, with Gia. I know this is going to be very controversial here, and feel free to comment down below if I'm wrong, but be nice. I actually do plan to put her down in November. Gia is otherwise still pretty healthy, other than the tumor on her, the side of her mouth. But she is very, very terrified of rain and thunderstorms. There's nothing that can console her. She would literally she would go crazy. She would tremble so hard that when you touch her, her body would be so hot. If you ever saw pictures or videos of a dog that was abused, like mentally, physically abused, that was what that dog looked like. She's whimpering in the corner, and when I hug her, she would still be shaking. But I did read online that you're not really supposed to comfort them at that stage because you're telling them that it's okay to be afraid. So yeah, November, December, January, February, that is the rainy season in Indonesia, where it rains and thunderstorms torrentially every day. At her age, and right now I do see that she's starting to tremble a bit. Her health is is wavering. So some days you can see she's healthy, she's jumpy, she's enjoying. But you can see some days she's actually struggling a little bit. She looks a little bit dazed. She looks a bit like she's not there or uncomfortable. And lately, when I'm walking with her around the compound, usually I just I unbuckle the leash before we get home. I trust her, by the way. She can totally go off leash with me. She's very, very stuck with me that way. So I would unbuckle the leash and she would, walk ahead of me to our doorway. But recently, for the past, I think 2 weeks or so, she's been walking up to the neighbor's driveway. She's been even walking up to their door, and I had to be like, I'm on my door, I'm like, Gia, no, it's this way. This is our home. And me and my neighbor's home, we look nothing alike. In fact, we're a mirror flip. In our driveway, it's like mirror flip. One's on the left, one's on the right, but we're, So she's getting signs of, I would maybe guess, maybe a bit of dementia. She's getting a little bit, her quality of life is decreasing quite a lot. And I would be the last person to want to hang on to something if she's in pain, which she can't verbalize it. The vets actually told me that she's actually fine. Sometimes her trembling, that's a sign of old age, maybe static in the air or chills, or maybe there's something about her that cannot be tested. It's just a basic sign of natural aging. November is actually half a year from now, and half a year in a dog's year is a lot. So I feel like I'm going to spend, I'm going to try to spend as much quality time as I can with her. I'm going to prepare my goodbyes. And there's even, a high likelihood that she would not make it till November. But I've already told myself that I cannot let her live through another rainy season in November, because that would terrify. She used to not be like this, by the way. It started last year, and it's getting worse this year. And I cannot imagine the next year. So, I cannot put her through that again. So do let me know if your thoughts on this. In Indonesia, euthanizing dogs, putting them to sleep, is not a norm here. What do you call it? Spaying or neutering dogs or cats here is also not the norm. People look at me funny when I told them that Gia and Josie, they were both spayed. They had their ovaries removed when they were little. And that's actually beneficial for animals, by the way, whether it's male or female animals, because that reduces their aggression or their impulse to want to mate, to find a mate, sexually. And they will also get less, I believe they're cancer, ovarian cancer. I don't know, but I don't know the science that well, but it's generally better for them. And also when you don't want them to get pregnant when you put them in boarding or you have them out for a bit. You don't want them to accidentally get pregnant, because it is pretty cruel to bring new life into the world that you cannot really care for. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what else is there to talk about them. I want to add that they both love, both Josie and Gia, they love to hump my legs. And I think that had to do with the fact that they were spayed. So they lost their female instincts or whatever. And if I have footage of them humping my legs, because I want to just stretch out on the couch or on the floor with my leg out, and they would just know how to hump it. And it's just hilarious. I love it. It's how we play. But when I looked it up, it just was a sign of them showing dominance over me, apparently. So a lot of good times, fun times with my dogs. I'm so ready to say goodbye. I'm so ready for the next chapter in my life, because they really defined who I was in the last 14 years. They were really limiting my choices. Like I couldn't really do a lot of, I couldn't make a lot of decisions, freely, because they were always by my side. They were always something that, I would think about. Like if you asked me if I wanted a life partner or them, I would have chosen my dog any given time. They are my responsibility, right? And of course my love and my, my nurture. Basically they're just my babies. So yes, I'm ready to put that behind me so that I can prioritize on my other things. And obviously I think right now business is of my core importance. I'm at the stage in my life where I am again questioning, what I wanted to do and how I wanted. Again, I actually wanted to build businesses, and my business partner told me, shared with me some insights, basically, because I kept talking about how I'm struggling with finances. And again, I'm also very passionate about how people, how to help poor people and things like that. And my business partner just told me, like, Sean, you're very very talented. You just need to prioritize, and you need to work well, earn a lot of money, focus on the money, because I haven't been, by the way. Focus on the money, because without money, you can't do anything. You can't help people, without money. So yeah, I don't know where I stand with that, but let me go through this bump. Let me finish this phase, this parenthood, if you will. And I look forward to better things ahead. And I'm spending grossly too much time with Gia now. Even I am afraid to think about the number of hours that I have spent on her. All right, so I guess I'll leave it at that. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.